everybody. Happy Cake Tuesday, friends. Long time no see, long time no talk. I have not been live for a little while, but today I thought it would be a wonderful day to go live. So actually, you guys, I was supposed to go live last week, and then it was a really close score. So like it was neck and neck, and then kind of over the last week, the Fox votes kind of like shot to the top. So here we are, and this afternoon, I am trying to move kind of quickly, and the reason being is because I have my dog who is at the groomers. So if I get a phone call in the middle of this live, I've got half an hour to go pick her up. Otherwise, I'm gonna get charged. So I'm gonna try to get done as soon as I can, but you know, we'll see. We'll do a little bit at a time. Actually, I have a lot of the parts that I have to do live. So y'all saw me work on the little Fox yesterday, and you saw the little video. I did a lot of that off camera, but yeah. So today, this cake here, it does have a bit of a green hue to it. It is pistachio flavored, and just like the pistachio that I use in my Dubai chocolate flavored cakes. So it's really gonna be yummy. And what I'm doing is I'm just gonna decorate this with just some white frosting just all around the outside of the cake. This way it's just all nice and balanced, all one color of white, just like in the photo. Now I will tell you, I believe the photo is AI. So it's really, I'm gonna tell you, with anything, if you're any kind of crafter, if you do any kind of things like that where you have to kind of replicate something, it's never gonna be exact, and that's okay if you put your own spin on it. And that's kind of what I've done here today with this little fox. The owl was so cute too, you guys, oh my gosh. But a lot of people were like, oh, we could do the fall fox, and then maybe we'll do the owl next time. And I think that is a marvelous idea. So yeah, hope y'all are all doing okay. I hope you guys have been enjoying your end of summer, beginning of fall. And I am telling you, I'm so excited. I love, y'all know, the fall. So I'm really excited to see the season start to change. So yeah, you guys, I'm gonna do a bunch of little fondant things here on camera with you guys so you can see. I'm going to kind of make the little fondant pieces. I have the actual photo of the Fox cake. I have it right here on my wall so I can see, and so it's right in clear view. So hey guys, welcome. I see everybody coming in. Now you're gonna watch me make this Fox cake, and I'm gonna give it away to somebody special. We have a lot of things going on today. So right now we have a sale on my signature cakes going on, and also I just posted yesterday, I don't know if you guys saw, but I have my next cake class posted. I know a lot of you guys were asking when I'm gonna do another one and when I'm gonna do my next cake class. And I'm just gonna tell you guys, like, I have been really busy. And not only with the bakery aspect, but also the ministry side of everything, just doing, you know, singing and different things like that. And then of course it's wedding season too. So it's kind of been a little crazy. So now after in the next couple weeks, I'll be able to do a class, so I'm pretty excited about that too. So guys, now what I'm gonna start working on for the cake, now that the cake is frosted, I'm gonna start working on making the bark. And the bark around the cake. So I have my fondant here, and I'm gonna have to color it. I'm gonna color it like a nice deep chocolate brown color. And the way I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna go ahead and get, I'm going to get some food coloring of red and green, because I feel like you can get a lot better, a lot richer of a color when you're using red and green to make brown. So I'm gonna go get that over here. I've got like a hunter green kind of color and some red. Yeah, and it's gonna get pretty messy. Hey guys! Hey Patrick! Hey Tanya! Hi Nikki! Thank you, honey. Thanks. Good to see you guys. So, yeah, so I'm gonna make some brown. So I need to actually make a little bit more, a little bit extra. But I have that deep hunter green I'm using, like an emerald, well, like a forest kind of green. And I'm gonna take some red and just kind of put this in with that. This is how I mix my fondant, okay? My fondant colors. It's a lot of coloring in there, but we're just gonna mix this. And now Wilton, and I think other places too, have been trying to cut down on the dyes. So they've been using, you know, natural things when they've been producing their products. So it's been cool to see, but you have to use a little bit more because it's not as vibrant. So in the cake world, not being able to use colors makes things a little bit tricky. So now I'm just trying to mix this wooden color here just to try to make the bark. So the cool thing about bark when you're trying to mix the fondant color is, you know, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be completely mixed. Actually, it looks kind of better when it has streaks in it, because then when you create your own, when you create the little divots in the wood, it makes it look like real wood. So like real tree bark. Gives it more definition. You see that there? It's like a bunch of different kind of colors in there. This is pretty cool. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to grab my rolling pin and just kind of roll out this fondant. Try not to make such a mess here, but I've got to make some space. I got a lot of stuff going on and a small amount of space here, so I've got to make room so I don't knock anything off my table. So y'all are seeing the whole thing here. We're just gonna make it, because I figured, you know what, I could do all this off camera, but then I don't get as much time with you guys, and I'm always, you know, kind of rushing. So yeah, so this is cool. Kind of see like a little bit of that marbling effect going on, which is nice when you're making wood. So what I'm gonna do is take my X-Acto knife. I'm just gonna cut half of this off here. So we'll work with this little piece for starters. So and I'm trying to keep an eye on my image so I can kind of see what I'm gonna be making. So, okay, so for the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just kind of try to create some divots here. I'm gonna use, these tools are awesome when you're trying to work with fondant. These are Sugarworks. So Innovative Sugarworks. These are tools specifically for when you're working with fondant. So I'm just gonna go in and make a bunch of lines You guys can see that. Just making some lines here on this piece of fondant. Just kind of distressing it a little bit, trying to make it look like, really look like wood. And you can get those silicone kind of imprints, which are nice when you're trying to make wood, and you only really have to hit it once or twice and just kind of use a rolling mat over it. That's cool too. You can do that. But this is just how I'm working with it today. So you see, it just kind of looks like a nice little piece of wood. You see all that distress there? Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut different sizes. I'm just going to use my X-Acto knife and just kind of cut through these pieces of wood. And then some of these pieces I'm going to cut in half just so we can get, I'm going to cut some shorter and some longer and just kind of separate the pieces, because this is what we're going to use to make just that cool kind of wood look around. And you could do this with just any kind of, you know, tree look. I mean, it's a really cool, it's a really, really cool thing you can do, just to kind of make different shapes and make it kind of look like a real tree. So, all right, here I have my, just stick some of this off to the side so you guys can watch how I'm going to do this here. I'm going to take my cake that I have, that I frosted, and I'm just going to take these little pieces of wood that we made here and just kind of stick them up against the cake like this. They're different shapes, different sizes. Actually, the more they're scattered looking, the better. It just kind of replicates the picture a little bit better. So you just kind of go around, take your time, just kind of piece it together here. Don't forget, guys, to like and share this video. If you do that, you will be in the drawing to win it. I can't wait to see who wins. Like I say every time, I wish everybody could, I really wish I could give everybody a cake. Make the world so much of a sweeter place, I think. So here, I'm just gonna cut this one in half and just kind of, some of them are kind of different shapes, that's okay. I want a lot of them to kind of be, tall, but it's okay if they're not all tall. I feel like that's what makes it look cooler when you have just a bunch of different shapes. Okay, so now that we got about half of the cake done, that was fast. So now we just have the other half. We're gonna just keep on doing the same thing. I'm gonna put that cake off to the side. Just once more. It just takes patience. A lot of patience, you guys, to create anything with sugar art. And I am so excited, you guys. My bakery, I've got maybe, I've got a somebody who's coming to help me with the ceiling. So I'm very, very close. As soon as that's done, I am going to be moving from this location where I'm at now to finally getting to move home, which may not mean a lot to you, but for me, when I'm traveling at 2 in the morning or 1 in the morning, you know, in the middle of the night, I will be able to be home, and that just makes me so happy. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, I'm probably just gonna cut one across here. And just repeat the same thing. Actually, I kind of just wanna, as much as I can, try to save as much of this as I can. All right. Go back to the same technique. We're just gonna keep on making some lines. The more you do it, the more I feel like it looks really cool and it just looks like an actual actually look like wood. And you can do this like if you're doing like a wheelbarrow cake, or if you're doing like a whiskey cake or something like that. You just have a bunch of distress lines. It just really makes it look cool. And you can use different kinds of brown. You can use like a copper color. Copper is nice because it gives it other dimensions and texture, which is cool too. So, okay. Just really trying to create that distressed kind of wood look here. And show you up close so you can see. I can see that kind of wood. I don't want to handle it too much because I'm gonna start I'm gonna start ripping it. Fondant is funny business, y'all. It is funny to work with sometimes. You've got to know what you're doing when it comes to fondant, and the only way you know is by practicing, by experience. It takes some time to get it down, and you know, I feel like it's that thing you'll forever be learning when it comes to fondant and using tools and cake decorating. There's always so much to learn. So just cutting off a couple of these pieces. Okay, so here I'm going to just kind of, I've got some little pieces I'm just gonna try to put up. I'm kind of like, I don't want it to be folding over too much. So I'm probably gonna cut a lot of that off. Just gonna piece these things here. It's still kind of long. I'm gonna have to cut a lot of that off. I don't want it to be, see, like if you're making this, maybe like, I don't know, a day ahead, if you're making your wooden strips and stuff, you know, it'd be cool because it will stand up straight. Of course I'm not, so I want to make sure that it's not too bendy. I don't want it to bend over the cake. So I'm gonna cut it down. I'm gonna move this so you guys can see what I'm doing here. All this wood off to the side. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep on trying to get all this stuff around the sides. And it's just supposed to look like woodsy kind of rickety feel. And it doesn't take long. I'm probably gonna put a few of those together there. It kind of reminds me of Tootsie Rolls. Y'all know Tootsie Rolls? That candy. It's what it kind of reminds me of when you're playing with it. Kind of like, it could be like the same kind of texture in some regards of modeling chocolate. However, modeling chocolate is, it gets a little more firm, it gets firm, and so just gotta be careful. Okay, starting to look more and more like a little tree stump. Kind of what we're going after, like a whole like tree. I'm looking at my picture and there is all these wooden pieces are all around the cake. Okay. Almost there. You just want to take your time. All right, and oops. Okay. It's nice because you can kind of piece things together. Fondant is pretty forgiving for the most part. You can kind of just, you know, if it's not quite where you want it to go, you can pull it, move it however you want. Okay, almost there, you guys. I've actually used a cake drum today because these are nice and firm. So you know once you put your fondant work, you know it's not gonna go anywhere when you're working with a cake drum. They're nice and thick, and it's really, really helpful. So, all right. So we're almost there. Just maybe a couple more pieces. Got one really tall one. Trim that. And the last little one we'll put is a nice little piece right in that little wedge. So now you just kind of look around. I think this one I want it a little bit taller. Might just stick something over there. Okay. Okay. Pretty cool. So now all we gotta do is find out where the front is gonna be. Where do we want the front to be? I kind of like the look of this part here. Even though it's mostly full, I kind of like this to be my front right there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an actual log. So I'm going to get maybe this much fondant here and just kind of shape it into a log. And then it already has some of the striping going on that I want, which is perfect. I'm going to use this tool. It's a little bit more fine. I did break the other side of that off, but what I'm going to do is just kind of create little lines here, and this is going to make a really nice little log, and I'm going to set it over here. Okay. Just a nice little baby log here. You can look and see just kind of that kind of indentations there. Okay. And then I'm going to take a bit of this white, take a tiny little pinch of the brown, and I'm going to mix it together. When I do that, it's going to make kind of like a nice tan color, and I'm just going to pinch off enough to make like a little circle to put on top of the log. Okay, just like that, like a little circle. And where the log is, now we're just going to pinch the little pieces of fondant, the darker fondant, to go over the sides so it looks like an actual log. Okay, like a little stump. Okay. So now we're gonna have to go back in. It's one of those things you've gotta take your time. So you've got to make sure you keep the indents, because as you use your hand and you manipulate it, you start to lose those indents. Okay, so you've got to be careful to handle it very carefully. And then the top, I'm just going to kind of make a little swirl around. Hope you guys can see that. I'm just trying to make little indents, just like you would like you would see on the inside of a log. Okay, here we go. I'm looking like a little, I want to try to get it a little more like a cylinder. Okay, all right, here we go. Got some nice indents happening there, you see? And you see the top there? Okay. So what I'm gonna do, find the front of the cake and kind of stick this log right here up against the fondant. Now the cool thing is the fondant is still kind of wet, so that's a good thing. This way it will stick, it'll adhere. okay? And from this place, if you want to add, I'm using my X-Acto knife to make some deeper slits into the tree. Okay. So now, let's move on to the leaves, okay? So this is the other big part. Now I know I do see a couple of little acorns. I mean, I guess we can do that real quick before we move to the leaves. Just a couple little balls like that. Just little acorns, just randomly placed. You can just put some around the front. Just some little, small little acorns. That's pretty cool. Looks like little acorns there. Okay, and now we're gonna move on to the leaves. So, a big bag of fondant here. Bunch of different colors. But for these leaves, I see a lot of some pretty orange colors. There's some pretty browns there too. So what you can do is you can just kind of cut your colors, and then you can add your dimension. You can add, you can paint some different colors to it if you like, or some richness in it too. You can add some brown, you can add some black to it when you finally get your details. Also, another color is like a little bit of a golden color. There's so many colors, but I like to take fondant that I already have, that I have not used yet, and to repurpose it, because fondant, y'all, is expensive. And you don't want to just throw it away. So I've got some red I'm gonna add here. Okay. So I've got some red, I've got some orange, I've got some yellow. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to kind of manipulate this till it gets a little bit softer, since it's been a little while since I used it. It gets soft pretty quickly. And I've got this other orange. It's kind of nice when you, color, and I still have brown on my fingers from when I was making the wood around the cake. That's totally fine. It actually works in my favor for this, because it needs to have a little bit of a dingier, kind of deeper color. You guys with me? Can you see me? I don't know if you can see me. Sometimes my internet goes in and out. Chocolate color here. Okay. Let me know if you can see me. Darlene said that she lost connection, so I think I had a phone call come in. It wasn't the groomers, but okay. Hey, Kim. Hey. You see me? Okay. Just want to make sure it's good. We're all good. Okay, awesome. So this is really cool, guys. It's how you can get a lot of your leaves really easily, okay? So what you're gonna do, hey Susan. Hey Darlene, okay, cool. I think it was I had a phone call come in, and sometimes when that happens, it's hard to see me. Okay. So what I've got is like a burnt orange color, I've got a regular orange color, I've got all different kinds of colors here, y'all can see. And so I don't really think I need this brown for the leaves. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to kind of roll this out so you can see, and I'm gonna cut my leaves here with my, it's actually a cookie cutter, an imprint cutter. This one is for the bigger leaves. It's the maple leaf here. So I'm gonna make the big leaf, and then I've got a smaller one just to kind of make the design. And I'm gonna stick this one in just to help get the design there. And I'm gonna peel it out. And I've got myself a pretty little leaf. Y'all see that? Isn't that cool? So I've got, put these off to the side. I probably want to do about 2 of each color. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of a distress look to it by using some, I can either use some brown color or I can add some powder to it. I'm actually using a different kind of leaf cutter. This one is like this, but it's still another kind of leaf. Maybe one of these. These are pretty leaves too. It's a little fall collection I got. Okay. All right, so now I've got, let's see here. 1, 2, 3. All right, let's do a red maple leaf this time. I think that's gonna be really pretty. Actually, I don't even know that I'm gonna have to use the other one. I think so. It helps to cut it. I was gonna try to only do it one time, but it helps to get that nice fine cut if you use the perimeter. But yeah, this is the stuff, guys. This is the stuff that takes the time. This is, I was talking with my friend the other day, and she was like, they have no idea how much goes into cake decorating. And really, there is so much that goes into cake decorating. And unless you've tried it yourself, unless you've gone through the work of trying to decorate a cake yourself, you don't realize how much time and materials and knowledge goes into making a cake. You know, I learned that pretty quickly when I thought I would start making cakes, and then I was like, whoa, that was a lot harder than I thought. But if you keep practicing, you just get better and better. So I'm just pressing the imprint here. Yeah, it comes out a lot nicer when you have the little imprint. See? And you can just fill this cake up with these little imprints. But I think I am done with the big cutters now. I'm gonna just use my little silicone mold. Y'all see that? It's a really cool mold. So what you do is you take a little bit of fondant and you just stick it into the mold like this. And I love these because you get such detail with the final result. It is so much nicer to actually use the silicone molds, I feel like, because there's so many little divots when it comes to a leaf that just doing it by hand, it just doesn't do it justice. Do y'all see that? Isn't that cool? Do y'all see all the little details? It's really neat. It's really neat. So I'm gonna just keep on working here and just keep on pressing these leaves. And hoping to get an abundance of pretty little leaves I can just stick all over this cake and really make it come alive. It is so fun to see the leaves change. Where I live out in the country, and the leaves are so beautiful. You can, every time when I'm driving home and I'm looking, I'm seeing God's creation, and I'm seeing how like everything's starting to change, and I love that. I'm so excited. I feel like I could be like the spokesperson for fall. Oh man. And it feels like it's never long enough. So I saw, I'm seeing the beginnings of the leaves changing where I am. So, and right now I'm trying to keep my mums alive this year. So I didn't water them this morning, but I've been trying to water them about once a day because they love, love, love water. And I have not been very successful in the past, so. But my thumb is getting a little bit more green. For this leaf, I kind of just went in and I added different colors. Kind of made like a multicolored leaf there. Do y'all see that? I feel like it's hard to actually see colors or see everything up close. I got a new phone, so I was hoping that you guys can see a little bit better with the detail. But yeah, so I also have another small one too with other little leaves, and it's so nice to have different sizes and different shapes. I'm telling you, it just makes it so much more vivid and so much more cool. So I'm gonna start putting some of these leaves on just to kind of get a feel of how much more I need to do. But I've got some smaller ones. They're so pretty. Yeah, so, all right. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to take, it's so funny because y'all don't see it, but I'm working on a small table, so I'm trying to make good use of my space with you all still being able to see everything that I'm doing. So, okay. Taking all these nice leaves, putting them off to the side. Do you guys have any fall plans, any things that you guys have been looking forward to that you are so excited about doing this season? What are some of your things that you do, yearly traditions that you do every year? Okay, I'm gonna start sticking some of these leaves. I'm just looking, I'm trying to figure out where are some nice places to put some of these guys. I think some nice little leaves up front. I feel like the more you put, the more beautiful it becomes. And the actual fox, the fox himself is a nice pretty orange, so he's a bright color. And so it'll be cool to have him be kind of standing out there. Just kind of placing these leaves all around. Put one over here by the acorn. You know, sometimes they say less is more. I feel like not when it comes to these leaves. You need as many as you can get. As many as you can get on here. You can really make a nice difference with this cake. I've got some of these other ones. Can you believe all the work we did? That's all we've got. we've got to make some more leaves. I see some down here too. Okay, so one thing I'm going to do to kind of help me see how much more I need to do is I'm going to take my little friend, my little fox, and I'm going to put him on my cake so I can see how much more space I need, okay? Da, 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 da. It's my fox. He is something else, this little fox. He took a lot of time. I've got to handle him with care, and his little tail. I've got to be careful because I actually have to get a wooden tool through him first before I put him onto my cake. So I'm gonna be careful not to handle him too much. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab one of these pieces of wood, these wooden dowels, just kind of cut it in half there. And I want to stick a tool right through him here. Let's see if I can get it through. All right, that should do it. And we'll just kind of stick him up front. Kind of, look at him. He's a mess. He gave me a hard time. He wasn't so bad, but I'm sticking him in the middle, and I kind of can't really see. Yeah, there he is. He's a happy little camper. So now I can kind of see a little bit more of what I want to do. Also, let's talk about this tree, okay? Because y'all see a tree and you think, wow, that looks so cool. But let me tell you, there is a lot that goes into making a tree. A lot. And there's a lot behind that goes on behind the scenes. So I have got these little pieces that I kind of worked with to kind of make into a tree. But it takes time. It just takes time. And I actually think what I'm gonna do, if I can, is I'm gonna kind of paint these guys a little bit. So, I mean, you can bend them. What they are is they're wires. So this is like if you're gonna buy like a cake topper or something, you get like these nice little wires that are bendy and they're pretty firm. And so these are really nice to try to, you know, make a tree with. But in this case, the tree is actually, it's like a dark brown color. So we want to kind of create that same look, but we're gonna kind of, these are green and I'm just gonna have to paint them and make them a brown color. Because you just gotta kind of work with it. You just gotta kind of work with it. Just to bend it, kind of sculpt how you want your tree to be, how you want it to look. I'm looking at the little image here and, you know, like I said, it's AI. I'm gonna try, but you gotta kind of make it your own. Okay, so I kind of want a little bit going off to the side. And I'm just gonna go in with my paintbrush. And I'm gonna paint, I'm gonna take some of that, well, I've got some black here. Let's see if I can make, whew, just missed my shirt. All right, so I've got some black here on my brush. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just try to paint this, that dark color. I think that works a lot better than trying to mess with fondant, because you have to use glue to stick to these little metal pieces, and it just can become a mess versus just kind of painting it and letting it kind of do its own thing. This is for the tree in the background. So, all right, that was a lot easier than what I had to do yesterday. So now, all we're working on now, guys, if you can believe it or not, is just the leaves. That's it, okay? Because the fox is pretty much done already, and so I'm just gonna work on leaves. So I'm gonna try to get, and I'm probably gonna make just a couple little mushrooms. So let me work on the mushrooms real quick first. I'm gonna make three or four. Let's make 4. Okay, so for the mushrooms, we've got these nice little white pieces here. It's okay if they get a little dingy. We are in the rain, we are in the forest, okay? So in the woods, that's all right. That's why it's been okay with me having brown on my hands, because everything just kind of looks a little distressed on the photograph. So all I'm doing is just kind of rolling it here in between my hands. This is the base of the little mushrooms. Kind of almost looks like a marshmallow, but we're just making little bases of the mushrooms here, okay? And here we go. Another little base here. All right. So now what we're gonna do is we are going to get some red. So I had some red already made up, but I think, oh, here we go. Okay. I have some red fondant already. Take it out of the wrapping. And I'm just gonna set it on top. Make these little kind of balls here. And what you can do is you get these little pieces of this wire. Now, actually, I can do this with the green. I'm gonna go get my wire cutter. Here's my wire cutters, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make some cuts in this so that what I'll do is I'm just gonna stick them into my cake here, maybe one here near the acorn and another one down here. So what I'm gonna do is now I'm gonna take this big white piece here, that's the base, and just stick it in there, and also another little one. Stick it in from the top. Okay, y'all see that? Okay, now when I put the little top of the mushroom, it will stay put. Okay, so I'm just kind of rounding this little guy, sticking that mushroom piece on top. Another little mushroom I'm gonna create here. Kind of round it out there a little bit. Stick that on top. There, a couple little mushrooms there. It's gonna look like a little woodland wonderland. Okay. I got another little mushroom here. I'm just gonna stick this one here up against the side of the cake. And I know I said I was gonna make 4, so I'm gonna put one at the base as well, right next to the acorn. Okay. Just kind of rounding out the little piece here for the top of the mushroom. Just trying to make it look like Toad from Mario. Okay, I'll set this one down here, the base there, and just set that on top. Okay, so now we got some little mushrooms happening. Now we're going to make the little white dots on top. So I'm going to use my white food coloring and just make a little dot here. Just kind of make little dots all on the top of the mushrooms. All over the top and the side. Okay. And over here too. All right. There we are. Just kind of making it come alive. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start working on the leaves. Okay, so I'm going to take my big bowl of icing and put it over here. I don't need that anymore, and just kind of set him off to the side. so that I can work with some more space. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bunch of different colors together, and I'm just going to kind of roll out a big sheet to kind of cut down on the time with making these leaves, okay? So I'm just going to roll out a nice big mat of colors. And it doesn't matter if they kind of blend together, because that's even cooler. It'll look more and more like an actual, it'll look more like a real fall leaf. It's got different colors on it. Okay. All right, so you gotta be strong to be able to to roll this stuff out. Oh, it is heavy. I mean, it is hard to work with. Okay, so I'm just gonna make some cuts here. Just so I have some nice leaves. And then I'm going to get some smaller ones just for more detail. I've got a small one I haven't used yet. So this is a smaller kind of, I don't think I've used this one yet. It's a really small one. It almost looks like it's a, one of those Christmas, I think it is. It almost looks like a holly leaf. But we're gonna use it anyway. Leaf cutter. Okay, and maybe one more of these guys here. We're getting there, guys, we're getting there. We are almost done. Okay, so we got this leaf. I'll put it over here. I just really want to try to cover up as much of the white on the top of the cake as I can, and on the bottom too. I just want to, like, there to be tons of leaves everywhere. It has got to look like, definitely like fall. Okay, and maybe couple more leaves back here on the back side. Okay, like he's just sitting in a bunch of leaves. All right, now the very last part, as far as for making the leaves, we have to try to get some nice little small leaves on top of these pieces of these trees. And in the picture, the leaves that are on there are kind of different. They're kind of like, they're shaped a little different than what I'm gonna do, but I don't care. These are kind of like the smaller version of the maple leaves, and that's okay. They're really, really cute. But you gotta be careful when you put them on, see? Because they will, they will try to fall off. So I just gotta be careful and mindful of that doesn't happen. So here, I'm gonna add another little leaf here. Add another one up here too. And you might want to add little things that make it look like vines coming out of the top of the leaf, the top of the tree. That is totally fine. Got a little red leaf happening. We're just gonna finish up the best way I would say to make it look like little vines is to, or little vines coming out of the tree, is to just make another piece that looks like it's coming out of the top. Which again, that is gonna take some time, you guys. It's just one of those things. Very, very detailed. You've got to work it. You've got to make sure you have the time to sit, and you can even add details with a little bit of some paint on the veins of the leaves, which really makes it stand out and look really awesome too. So you just gotta take your time. I think I might do some of that off camera, or I might not. It just depends. It just depends. Okay. I've got a few more leaves I'm gonna do up here, and then I'm gonna go in with a little bit of some distressing. I'm gonna do that on all of the leaves at the bottom, just to kind of make it look a little bit more like more realistic. Okay. He's coming along, ain't he? So I'm actually gonna add some more. I'm gonna add some color to him, color to the leaves, a distressing look to the leaves. The way I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna take one of my paint brushes here, and I'm gonna get a little bit of some powder. So the colors I have is purple, gold, or like it says a warm orange, and then I have a silver color. So I'm gonna take some of these powders and just knock them into these little things, these little palettes. And I'm gonna just use my brush and go in and just kind of create nice dimension to the leaves. The more colors you add, it can give it a different kind of look. I don't want to add too much purple, but just a little bit, because a little bit of that purple with the orange will help it kind of pick up another tone. I don't know that I really want to use. I don't want to use very much silver at all, just a little bit. A little goes a long way with that. So this is just edible luster dust, is what this is. So I've got my little palette here. You see, I just put some of these colors here. I'm putting some on my brush and I'm knocking it off. And then I'm going in with it here, because if you have too much color, it can, at one place, it can kind of detract from it, okay? So it's cool when you have multiple colors there. And you're just gonna take it and you're gonna like put different, wonder if you can see. I'm gonna try to get you to come really close here so you guys can see. So you can see him and what I'm doing. I'm just adding some coloration to him, to the leaves. I've got a little bit of a charcoal color. I'm trying to knock off some of that because I don't want it to get too dark, but just kind of trying to make it like that distressed kind of look. I really like a little hint of that purple up against the leaves. It looks kind of cool. It looks pretty cool. A little bit of that charcoal. Another thing you can do is you can take the paint and you can actually add a really nice detail to the veins of the leaves. It's pretty cool. Okay. I think he is just about done. I could keep going, and I really could. I could do a lot more with him. I could add a lot more detail, but I feel like I would be here all day. It's just pretty cool because like you can take like this little, this tiny little paintbrush. I can add so much just by hitting the crevices of the leaf, and it just makes everything pop so much more. But this is the stuff that takes so long that you guys don't see. That happens off camera. So but it's really cool because when you get the finished product, it looks amazing. But it's nice because you can take your time and create it. So if you want to be in the drawing to win this cute little fellow and this lovely little fox, this lovely little fall cake, all you have to do is like and share this video, and you'll be in the drawing to win it. And I really am excited to give him away. Look how happy he looks. And so yeah, so guys, thank you so much for watching. You're all amazing. And I think it's so fun because, yeah, like he doesn't look exactly like the AI guy. Actually, let me show you the photo. The AI photo is pretty cool. Huh? What do you say? It's kind of got his own little spin on it. So you can and that's the cool thing about cake decorating. You can make it look like your own. And that is what's exciting. When I do cake classes, it's so fun to see everybody else's own variation on every cake that's made. It's super cool. This was so much fun. Thank you so much for being with me today. And I will see you guys next time. Have a beautiful day. Bye.